The doctor is in. I'm Dr. Freddie Gomez, and this is Med Talk Health Talk. They say being a mother is the most rewarding job in the world, but at the same time, it could be the most stressful as well. Building the best possible relationship with your child should be the core of being a parent. In this stage, the physical, emotional, and social development of a child is being nurtured. And while this could be rewarding for most parents, it could also be the most challenging, especially for mothers who try to be hands-on while juggling with regular day jobs. And once stress takes over, parental burnout happens. Some mothers experience exhaustion, emotional detachment, and question their efficiency. So how can you be the best parents for your children and avoid parental burnout? What is the so-called positive discipline, and how does it play as a new method in dealing with your children? To help us get a better perspective about this topic, we have on the program Sheila Juan Catilo and Leona Lavinia Panutat. They are the founders of Project Lilo, which is a blog site on parenting. Welcome to the program, Leona and Sheila.
Hello.
Thank you for having us.
Now, let's talk about first, how many kids do you guys have? Let's talk with Sheila first.
Okay, I have a 10-year-old, I have a 7, and I have a 4-year-old.
Oh,
They're
wow.
all girls.
Oh, great, all
Yeah.
girls.
And
And how about you, Leona?
I have 2 boys. One is 7, the other one is 4.
And as mothers, how hard is building a relationship with your children? Like, for example, all girls.
Well, girls are very talkative, very emotional as well, but I like the fact that they're very open to me, so they tell me everything about their day.
Right.
In fact, they don't stop telling me about their day until they run out of energy. But I think that's the advantage of having girls, just the openness and the common experiences and interests.
So, how about you, Leona? How is it like raising 2 boys?
Actually, at this age, 7 and 4, they're still very much close to me.
Okay.
Because that's what they say, boys are super malambing to their moms. So right now, they're very close to me. They want to be with me all the time. Sometimes too much, but as they say, you have to enjoy it while they still want to be with you.
Right.
So I'm trying my best to always remember that.
Okay. Now, what is the most challenging part of raising your kids?
I think it's knowing that you're shaping their future ahead. So it's a whole new generation that you're trying to bring up.
That's right.
So it's not just the everyday survival of feeding them and making sure that they go to school or that they have something to do or they're sleeping well. It's also a very holistic thing. Like you have to think about values and you have to think about what kind of role model you are to them as an adult.
Okay.
And one thing that we always talk about is every decision that we make, it's always like, am I doing the right things?
Right.
Is this gonna benefit my child? I may think that this is good for him now, but will it be good for him in the future? So that's always ingrained in us, that we always have to think about that
Okay. Now, have any of you ever experienced parental burnout?
every day.
Who hasn't experienced?
Let's start with Leona first.
Because I bring my kids to school almost every day, and I pick them up, and I also tutor my son.
Right.
And at the same time, I have another blog, The Inspiration Seekers, and we also work on Project Lilo. So the balance there's no such thing. So you prioritize one over the other, and sometimes it can get crazy. So for me, that's my personal experience. It's how to do everything when you know you really can.
Okay, so it's more of like a time
Right.
constraint that makes you burned out. How about you, Sheila?
For me, I have 3 girls in 3 different stages. So I have a preschooler, I have someone who's in grade 1, and a tween. So more than, the physical aspect is one of them because I do work during the day. So I'm a photographer.
Right.
I have shoots during the day. When I get home, I attend to my kids, make sure they go to bed on time. And it's only after they fall asleep that I get to start with the back end of my work, which is editing. So I don't really get to sleep a lot. And then if you're attending to their needs as well.
Right.
Because as I said, I have 3 different stages right now that I'm trying to attend to, and they have different needs and different interests as well.
Okay. Now, you mentioned about Project Lilo. Let's talk more about this.
Okay.
What exactly is this project?
Project Lilo was a website that we started in 2016 and launched in 2017. It's about telling all moms out there that perfect motherhood doesn't exist, and that's okay. Every mother has their own story, and it's not the easiest thing in the world. In fact, it's probably the hardest thing that every woman will have to go through, but at the same time, the most rewarding. So we just wanted to highlight that while, yes, what you see on social media, what you see on Instagram is pretty and perfect, but 90% of that, all of the moms are just trying their very best to do what they think is good for their children.
Okay, so you just want to give a realistic perspective on everything.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
So on this side, do you have also insights from other moms as well, their perspective on how great it is or how difficult it is with raising children?
Definitely. Actually, the focus is we talk to different moms, women we look up to that we also want to learn from, and they share their experiences. And this is no joke, we always cry at every interview.
I think that when moms talk, there's something very universal about our experiences, no matter how unique they are,
Right.
that bring us together. So it's a matter of knowing that somebody else is going through the same thing that you are in a different situation. It's really,
Yeah, and the fact that at the end of the day, we're all just trying.
yes.
Right.
We're just trying for our children.
Okay, now, but one important aspect is called positive discipline. Could you tell us exactly what is positive discipline and how effective is this in your parental process?
I think for one, I noticed this with my eldest. It seems that it's actually a lot better for me to just talk to him than to get angry, which is sometimes, I have to admit, it's my first reaction sometimes, especially when you're so tired. But I noticed that when you talk to him calmly, then it's actually a lot better for both of us. He responds better and he understands more.
I think sometimes we also forget that kids are kids.
That's
Right.
true.
So when you think about it, there are a lot of things that kids don't really see and understand about why we get upset and what they did wrong. And those are things that we need to talk to them about. And like Leona said, sometimes kausapin mo lang sila, sabihin mo lang sa kanila. They do understand. We just have to explain.
Okay, very well said. Now, we have to pause for a break, but when we return, does having a home-based job make you a more effective hands-on mom? Keep it here on Med Talk Health Talk, only on CNN Philippines. With all the stressors we have in the workplace, not to mention the worsening traffic condition, they say having a home-based job is the best option in managing time. But for mothers who also juggle with regular day jobs, will this make you a more hands-on mom with your kids? And still with us is Sheila Juan Catilo and Leona Lavinia Panutat. Both of them are from Project Lilo, but joining us now is Janelle Swing. She's a first-time mom and has a home-based job for 2 years. Janelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Now, what was your line of work before going home-based?
I was actually in the call center industry. I was a customer service representative.
Now, what made you decide to leave that line of work?
I initially actually wanted to go back to school to finish my college degree. So I did that in 2014. So I went to Google and checked what can I do to earn while staying at home and studying. And then I found a platform that connects me as a freelancer to clients all over the world.
How about you, Leona and Sheila? Was your experience similar to that of Janelle in that you had to sort of balance your career with being a mom?
2 years ago, I had a full-time job because my sister-in-law and I, we were running a store. So that we were there holidays, weekends, basically every day. So after that, fast forward to 2 years, I'm now based at home. What I do is while the kids are in school, that's when I try to work. Because once they're home, it's a different story.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you notice, Janelle, that being at home gives you more time with your kids, more quality time with your kids, because that's where you work as well?
Yes, it's definitely more time with the kids, definitely more time with your family. However, time management, that's a real problem. The only thing that's better for me, for a kind of mom, is that I set out a schedule on what time I should start, what time I should finish with my job, with my tasks. But the real rewarding when it comes to working at home is you spend more time with the kids. You can be more hands-on on what they do, what they're playing with. You can play with them while working. So it's a really rewarding feeling.
How about you, Leona? Do you find more fulfillment being closer to your family, closer to your kids, at the same time being efficient with your job as well?
Definitely. The thing about being working from home, is that you can arrange your schedule in any way that you want. So let's say your kid has something in school, you can attend to that and then maybe make up for work at a different time. So that's what I love about it, the freedom, the flexibility of you doing what you need to do at the time that you need to do it.
Okay, how about you, Sheila? Do you think working at home could be applicable to every mom out there?
We always talk about how certain lifestyles work for certain people. And I think there are people who work better with structure, and there are people who work well with flexibility. In my case, I like it better that I can schedule things around what I need to do, who I need to be with, where I need to be at.
Right.
Versus being in an office job that I get to do everything there, but when I get home, I'm 100% with my kids. So I think both have their pros and cons that arises when these occasions come.
And that could be probably a source of stress, which is
Yes,
probably my
definitely
next
is.
question.
Yes.
Do you think that having a stress-free environment is possible while raising your kids?
It's not really stress-free because there's always the time that, kids are kids.
Yeah.
Kids are playful.
Exactly.
Kids are everywhere. So stress-free environment, it's not really that possible, but your kid is also your stress reliever.
Right.
That's the best thing. At the same time, when you see your kid, it's like all of it goes away.
Right. How about you, Leona? How important is having a very good balance?
The thing is, I don't think there is balance.
Yeah.
It's either on one day work will take over, the other day it's family life, and you should just accept that. You can plan your day as much as possible, but nothing goes perfectly. I think it was my husband who said it. The only thing that you can really control is how you react to a situation.
And I think at the end of the day, kids are very forgiving people.
They are.
Like, you make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. I mean, nobody's family is perfect. No mom is perfect. No dad is perfect. Even children are not perfect, no matter how cute they are. Which I think was designed by God talaga. Kailangan cute sila. Because,
Kundi, you
I
can't.
mean, it's difficult being a parent. But at the end of the day, we mean the best for our children. And if they know that you're there for them no matter what, and that you want what's best for them,
Right.
I think that's all that matters.
That's right.
Beautifully said. But before we go, I'd like to ask Janelle if you have a message for our viewers out there.
Yes, my message for all moms is to spend as much time as you can with your kids, whether you work full-time within an office or you work at home. Spend as much time as possible and explain to them what you do, because kids will always be understanding. They will know that you love them. You're doing everything for them. So love your kids and spend as much time as you can with them.
Leona?
Easier said than done, but put your phone down.
But how about those who use their phone in order to calm their kids down? What's your take on
I am
that?
guilty of doing that. There are times that you just like, please, take the phone.
Give me 5
Please,
minutes.
just 5 minutes. I am not against it, but at the same time, I try to limit it as much as possible.
Okay. Sheila?
I think it's good to remember that we should be kind to one another
Right.
as moms. I think that's my main message, because everyone's going through something and we don't know how much sleep they got last night,
Right.
and who had to clean up,
You don't know what was going
something
on.
spilled, or you don't know what happened to them
Okay.
before meeting them. So let's be kind to one another. Every single encouraging word, or just someone telling me na, "Oy, I'm praying for you, ha." It's encouraging.
Right.
So I think
Just being kind and
just
positive.
being kind
right?
to each other helps a lot.
All right, very well said. And with that, I'd like to thank you, Sheila, Leona, and Janelle for sharing these all-important tips on how to be great moms who can balance their time and career as well. And when we return, how do we actually show self-love? Plus tips from your next me time. Let's talk about this when Med Talk Health Talk returns. Most of the time, heartbreaks are more painful than any kind of physical pain. And these emotions linger longer than expected and may even cause someone to neglect his or her own self. What should we do in these kinds of situations, and how can we handle stress to protect our overall health? To help us answer these questions, we have on the program Ms. Olin Lim. She's a certified image professional. Welcome to the show once again, Ms.
Thank you for
Olin.
having me again.
Now, what kind of situations or some examples can you mention that make a person be in a situation that is either super heartbreaking or something that is too stressful for them to handle?
All right, so there's so many now, okay? With technology it is there, so that's part of it now, okay? Work is there, family life is also there, traffic is also one of them, okay?
Definitely.
So loss of loved ones, like, you know, what was earlier mentioned, and, you know, just about the little things actually now can be stressors. So there's so many factors involving, you know, stress-related,
Right.
you know, diseases.
Almost anything can actually
Pretty
be a
much,
stressor,
yeah,
no?
yes.
But what's important is how do these stressors affect a person?
Well, number one, I think it's because of self-care. You know, if you are not at the point wherein you know who you are, or you know how to center yourself, and you know how to handle these things, I think it affects you a lot more.
Okay.
Because nowadays there's so many complicated things that surrounds it. So if you're not prepared for it, if you're not exposed to it, or you know your coping mechanism is not that great, you're more susceptible to all of this stress.
Okay. Now, you mentioned self-care. What exactly is self-care for those who aren't really familiar with that?
Well, self-care is actually, we talk about it like it's taking care of you first, no? So I've always said in my classes, like, how can you take care of other people if you yourself cannot take care of yourself, no? So it has to always start with you. But culturally, we tend to think of that as selfish, but
Right.
actually it's not. It's really more of taking of yourself more physically, okay, like you're doing your exercise, eating healthily, and of course mentally, no,
Right.
and even spiritually. So like meditation, yoga, and pretty much anything that centers you helps a lot.
So a good self-care or good awareness of self-care will be able to uplift someone in this type of
Yes.
situation.
That's
But
right.
Miss Olin, sometimes the hard part is when someone is in these stressful situations, probably a heartbreak, they're not really aware. What is some good advice or a good way for someone to sort of remember or be aware that they have to take care of themselves first in order to attack these stressors?
So if you know your triggers, I think it will be helpful for you to now center yourself. And when there is a situation that obviously is a stressful situation, it's always good to, you know, take note of it that it is stressing you out. So what would that be? You're breathing heavily, palpitate ka na, you know, you're
Right.
sweating a lot, and all of that. And sometimes you're acting not rationally anymore. So mainit na yung ulo, no? So all of these things are good for you to, you know in yourself. And you can only know that if you know yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, how important is having a happy heart and a happy mind?
If your heart is happy, you're doing the things that you love, you're doing the things that, you know, is your passion, doing the things that gives you fire, okay, and taking away the things that are really the small things that are really not important in life, then I think, you know, you're living a good life.
Okay, now I think what you mentioned also may lead to my next question on how can someone be a more productive and a more effective self?
Okay. Well, being a more happy and productive self would be keeping balance. Okay, and I know that's kind of difficult nowadays,
Right.
but to keep balance, and it's not only just to realize that you need balance, but you have to have a deliberate effort of finding the balance. So if you know that you're working too much, you know, you have to give yourself a little bit off time, okay? And if you know that your body is not taking well, you need to rest. So those are the things that sometimes we force ourselves, okay? But knowing the balance and knowing it really, really deliberately, consciously doing it, like even the breathing, just a simple breathing,
Right.
is very important.
Now, having a good support group or having someone to talk to, is that also a good part in having good...
Oh, definitely, because communication-wise, people are not anymore communicating right now. Like I've mentioned to you earlier on, people are just so much in their technologies and their gadgets. So even just a little bit of, you know, talking to parents or talking to your friends, that helps a lot. I mean, that takes away more of, you know, you keeping to your mind mind. You know,
Right.
sometimes it's always dangerous also to be in your own mindset. But going out, taking a walk, all of these things can actually give you a different perspective in life. So communication is really the key. But now that's usually our problem, is that not everybody really communicates.
Okay, so really quick, what are some tips on how a person can have good self-care, and how can someone be a better and productive self?
All right, so to me, my first tip would always be take care of yourself first, okay? What would that be? Go for the checkup, okay? I know people don't want to go for checkups, but go for the checkup. It's always nice to know what you're up against, okay?
Right.
And take care of your health, just walking, okay? Taking away the extra little details in life that at the end of the day doesn't really matter. So you have to keep, you know, things simple as well, but do the things that makes you passionate, do the things that you love, okay? And if you find yourself complaining every day, oh my goodness, just change mode, okay? Kailangan default mode ka ulit. You have to change things again. So I think what a happy heart would be is to do what you love, talk to people who matters, okay, and take away the people who doesn't. You know, that's why editing is always also good in life.
Uncluttering,
Yes,
your
uncluttering,
life.
yes.
Now, you have a message for our viewers, Ms. Olen.
Of course. If we are now taking care of ourselves, and I really urge everybody to do so, we welcome you also, you know, to take care of yourselves, you know, take up your programs and all of that, and obviously we welcome them to our site, okay, as well.
Okay, now very well said. Thank you once again for joining us, Ms. Olen
you.
Lim, and
Thank you for
sharing your
having me.
knowledge on our topic.
Thank you.
And that's about all the time we have for this episode of Med Talk Health Talk. Please do join us next time as we give you more topics that help take control of your health. I'm Dr. Freddie Gomez. Thank you for watching.